So I wanted to go back and talk about going international in your career. And I know that
Hmm.
you did that pretty early in your career. And I wondered if you could tell us what made you go for that transition, what made you confident in that transition, and what can you tell students about being confident in those transitions?
Yeah, I followed experiences more than career. The career comes, the experiences are what gives you more broad breadth, let's say. So yeah, initially it was UK to the States. I was working with Credit Suisse. They were going on a little bit of a buy-in spree, and there was a couple of companies that they were looking at acquiring in the States, and they needed someone who could do the technology diligence. So I put my hand up. And they said, "Yeah, I can do that." Had no idea what technology diligence was per se, but that got me to the States, and I worked for I think 2 years with them. I pretty much learnt diligence pretty quickly, right? And the more you think, the more you say, "I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't," and then before you know, you've talked yourself out of it. Because there's a long list of 20 items, and you think unless you have 18 or 17 or whatever it is of those, you don't apply. And I don't, if I don't have none, I won't apply. But I won't wait and sort of convince myself, etc. I tend to sort of just push and put your hand up because you're not committed. Again, it goes back to two-way doors. What you're doing is you're putting your hand up to get more info, right? And show your interest and everything else. You can always back out later whilst everyone else is sort of still thinking about whether they should put their hand up.
And even out of that, do you think, kind of you were coming in a time when there was a lot of globalization of, say, consulting firms,
Yep.
et cetera. Do you think that today there are still those opportunities that would exist for young people to raise their hand and kind of almost?
I do. I think there's lots. I think there's lots of opportunity today, both in terms of various different opportunities within the location you're in and the company you're in, and then also opportunities, abroad. The thing I found with when I was looking for, and I did work for global firms, so that helps. But I found when I was looking for those opportunities, I didn't need to, in quote, leave and go search other companies and things like that. If you work for, in quote, large global firm, if that's what you like, experiences you want, you can find it within that firm. You just got to navigate. There's no need to, in quote, leave. So I think the opportunities exist today, probably more so, just given the state of, globalization. I think even technology and my team that I have right now, it's diverse. It's spread out across sort of 20 different countries. And there's lots of opportunity just within the tech itself for people if they, we've done movements where we've taken people from UK, moved to Australia, Australia moved to Hong Kong, India moved to Canada, things like that, if people are interested in. So, yeah, I think that the opportunities exist today. Absolutely.
So your career, it kind of meets at the crossroads of technology and business, a place that you mentioned is becoming more and more of an industry norm. I was wondering if you could share with us some of the current trends that you're seeing in this area becoming standard that finance and tech students could prepare for coming into the field.
Yeah, look, I'm biased, but I've seen a dramatic change in the value of, in quote, technology right now in basically any industry. If you look in any business now, and the role of technology, good businesses, Amazon and others like that, they're looking at technology as a competitive advantage, not necessarily just as, in quote, an enabler to support the business. I think the maturity of machine learning and artificial intelligence in things that are doing is probably another key area. Would encourage folks to at least have an understanding of that, because that's becoming much more mainstream. And then the other advice I would give, at least this year, if I was looking back, is also try and be quite broad versus maybe too specialized. I forget the stat, but if you look at any given year lately, and you look at when people graduate and you look at the jobs they go after, X% of those jobs didn't exist 5 years ago, right? Classic one obviously now is social media and influencer and things like that. It didn't exist, right? But you can keep looking. There are jobs that will exist that you don't know about, right? So therefore you can't plan. You can't go and do a degree that actually gets me. So you need some level of broadness from an experience standpoint that will help you on opportunities that may exist by the time you graduate that don't exist today.
Do you think the key word there then is kind of adaptability, in the sense of understanding where everything is, but also kind of still continuously taking the pulse of where the market's going?
I think it's adaptability, and then it's an overused word, but being agile. right? In terms of, yeah, you may have a career path and that, but being a little bit flexible and agile and sort of following different paths that may end up there, because rather than one rigid. Now, look, some people have one and they know what they want to do and they go for that. Surgeon, medical. I mean, that's a conscious decision right up front. For many of us, we don't know. So therefore, you have passions you follow, and being flexible to sort of follow those pathways depending where they take you. I think adaptability is a big one. I agree.